Welcome to the day two of training. Okay, yesterday I talked about basics of Java, the basic drivers we have, right? And the concept of constructor, how constructor is used, and uh, basically it helps you to create the object on the fly and also initialize the values of the object. Okay, right. Today I'm going to talk about interfaces, that what basically interfaces are, how they are used, and what is the need for an interface. All right. So what we will do is that I will um, go to my workspace and I'll create a new Java project. I'll call this project as day 2. Fine. And let us start with the concept of interfaces. Fine. I should rename it to day 0. You can hit F2 and you can rename this. Yesterday I told you about debugging as well. Don't take debugging very lightly. It is very important concept when you are writing big scripts and when you are building on frameworks, right? Debugging helps you a lot over there. Okay, let me just include all the jar files for Selenium out here. Okay, I'll go to the Java build path, add external jars, and I will include all the jar files. Okay, right. Now about interfaces, what interfaces are and how they are helpful. Now, before that, what is the need of an interface? Okay, look, primarily I talked about basic drivers. I told you that there are different types of drivers. Like we have Firefox driver, Chrome driver, Internet Explorer driver, and all. Right. So the thing is, should I be learning every driver separately? That is the primary question. Should I learn Firefox driver separately, Chrome driver, iDriver? I have to write a script which should work on all the browsers. Fine. So to solve this issue, we use interfaces. Right. For example, if I create a new class over here and I call that class as dynamic browser, fine, and with the main function. Okay. And I take a variable string browser equals to Mozilla. Fine. Okay. Look, the thing is, based on the value of this variable browser, I need to open the browser and I need to work on the website. Okay, depending on the value of this variable. If the value is Mozilla, then whatever script I'm working for, I'm actually writing after this, whatever script I'm writing should work on Mozilla. If I change it to Chrome, then the script should work on Chrome. Right. I'm sorry. And guys, give me 1 minute. I need to close. Okay, fine. So out here, whatever browser I'm opening, or whatever script I'm writing should work on that particular browser. Alright, and you can write over here that if browser is, I can kind of implement it like this. If the browser is Mozilla, then I can create the object of Firefox driver the way I did yesterday and take it to a particular website. Right. Else, if browser is equal to Chrome, then I can use Chrome driver and take it to certain website. Okay. Or else if browser is equal to say I, then I can create the object of Internet Explorer driver. Right. And else if the browser is Edge, I can create the object of Edge driver. Fine. Fine. Okay. Right. But does this make sense? What if I have to click on a link or I have to get the title of the page after reaching the web page? Alright, guys, please, I request you to keep your microphones on mute. It disturbs the recording. Okay. Out here, you can go to yahoo.com and you can say print the title of yahoo.com with this command. Similarly, get title command gives you the title. If you want to get the title out of Chrome driver, you write Chrome driver.get title. Or if you have to get out title out of iBrowser, you will write iBrowser.get title. But this doesn't make sense that I'm repeating the commands, right, to get the title of the web pages as well. What if I have to click on a link? Will I write a separate code to click on a link over here? For every browser, will I be writing a separate piece of code? Well, the answer to that is no. You don't have to write that. This doesn't make sense. Okay. The answer to that comes from the concept of interfaces in Java. Alright. Now, what is an interface? Interface is something which gives an idea about the system. For example, when you buy a book from a market, look at the cover face of the book, read the name, read the first page. That page or the face of the book gives you an idea that what this book is about, but it really doesn't tell you that whether the book will be good or not. So that front page is like the interface. All right. Or if you go to our website, say qtpselenium.com, our website has a UI. This UI is like an interface. Okay, this interface gives you an idea that what the system is all about, what the system is going to do, what it is offering, but it really doesn't tell you that how it is going to offer, whether it will be good or not, or whether it is for you or not. All right. So this is what interface does. Okay, fine. Now in Java also we have interfaces which tell what the system is all about. Fine. If I create a new class over here and I call that class as uh, or I create an interface, not a class, a new interface. Fine. And I will name the interface as say bank. Now it's an interface. In interfaces, you declare your functions. For example, I'll declare a function like public void uh, transfer, okay, or public void make clear check, or public void. You can put up a function like say recharge ATM, anything. Okay, these are the function of interface. Fine. Okay, so these are the functions of an interface. Right. In in interfaces, there are function declarations. Okay, you declare the functions inside the interface. You don't define them. Okay, there is no body to the functions. Just put them like this. A layman looking at this interface will come to know that what this interface is all about. Fine. Now, out here, I can say make a class known as, I can put up any bank, say I write over here Citibank. Fine. Now I can write over here Citibank implements the bank interface. If a class is implementing an interface, implements is the keyword. If a class is implementing an interface, it is mandatory for the class to implement all the functions of the interface. Okay, move the mouse over this class and select add unimplemented methods. Select this option. Okay, and all the three methods will come up out here. Okay, with override sign. All the three functions will come up in the Citibank class. Right, override is an annotation. You can remove it or you can keep it. The motive for this annotation is to tell that this function is coming from the interface. Now, if the class is implementing an interface, it is mandatory for the class to implement all the functions of that interface. If bank is an interface and this class is implementing, it has to implement all the three functions. It cannot say that fine, I won't implement one function, you will start getting error. Okay, you have to implement all the functions from the bank interface. Okay, and then you print over here Citibank say transfer. You will soon get to know that what interface is actually like, what is the use of an interface. Will come to clearing check, right? Citibank charging ATM machine, right? Okay, so these are the three functions inside the Citibank class. All right, I can also create one more class, say for example, Bank of America. Okay, and I can say that it is also implementing the bank interface. So if a class is implementing an interface, it will have to you'll have to implement all the functions, right? And you can write over here that Bank of America transferring, Bank of America clearing check, Bank of America recharge ATM. You have Bank of America and Citibank classes implementing the bank interface. Both the classes have same name function names, but the implementation is different as per every class. Okay, diagrammatically if I show you, then what we have done is that we have one interface and there are two classes implementing this interface. Okay, like this. There are two classes. This was the bank interface. And Bank of America as well as Citibank, both of them were implementing this bank interface. So what is the use of interface? I could have never made the interface and I could have created separately. What is the use of interface in this particular scenario? The use is that tomorrow if I have more bank classes, all the bank classes can implement the same interface and they will have the same set of functions which are defined in the bank interface. This gives a kind of discipline or structure to the application. Okay, this gives a kind of discipline and structure to our application. Fine, you have a bank which is implementing an interface, right? So all the banks which are implementing the interface will have the same set of functions. All right, if I talk about Selenium, if I go to the Selenium documentation, if I go to seleniumhq.org, right, and if I go to official documentation, if I go to the download section, look, you can import the documentation of Selenium inside Eclipse. There is no need for sorry, there is no need for you to go to the Selenium website for the documentation again and again. You can click on this download link. Oh, sorry, not the download, I'm sorry. On this Java doc. And this is the page which opens up with this URL. You can copy the URL, okay, and you can go to the project, right click on the project, go to the properties, and go to the main Java jar file, which is client combine 3.12. This is the main jar file of Selenium. Expand it, go to the Java doc location, edit the location, and add this URL. In this URL, remove index.html. Please put this much only and click on validate, and it will say location is likely valid, then everything is fine. Okay, right. Now the documentation is included. If say I go to this dynamic browsers.java and if I move my mouse over Firefox driver class, it will give the description of this class and everything. If I write Firefox driver dot, it will give the function name. If I click on any of the functions, it will tell you from the Java docs that what every function does. This is very helpful when you are actually learning. Okay, so please include the Java docs inside Eclipse. If I click on any link over here in the remark, the Java docs will open inside Eclipse. You can switch over to the frames view. This is the frames view. Alright, and you have the complete Java documentation inside Eclipse. You don't have to go to the Selenium website. Okay, if I scroll down in this documentation, whatever is written in italics is an interface. Okay, for example, mouse. It is written mouse out here. Mouse is an interface. You will see interface mouse. Fine. And these are the functions inside the mouse interface. Okay, right. And click, context click, double click, mouse down, mouse move, mouse up. Okay. These are the functions. And these are the implementing classes, all the known implementing classes. Read the documentation like this. Similarly, if you scroll down over here, you will see something known as WebDriver. WebDriver, technically, everybody must have heard the word. WebDriver is basically an interface. Technically, WebDriver is the interface in Selenium. And in the architecture of Selenium, this is the root interface. Everything starts from the WebDriver interface. WebDriver interface has got a lot of functions to interact with the browser. For example, close will close the current browser. Find element will go and find a particular element. Element means link, button, anything on the web page. Okay, page get title will give you the title of the web page. Alright, so there are different functions. We have used the function get to load a particular URL. So these are the functions in the WebDriver interface. And all the driver classes, they are implementing this interface. So if all the driver classes are implementing this interface, all the driver classes will have same set of functions. Like bank was an interface and in all the banks, the same set of functions had to be there. Similarly, you don't have to worry that what functions will be there in Chrome class or Firefox driver class or iDriver. All the functions will remain same in all the classes and they will be same as this WebDriver interface. Okay, so now, that is why when we were writing Firefox driver dot get, Chrome driver dot get function was there in every driver class. Get title was also there in every driver class. So the function names will remain the same. But does this solve our problem? The problem is that we don't have to write separate script. It still doesn't solve the problem. Okay, but interface will solve this problem as well. So basically interface makes sure that all driver classes have same function names. This is the first use of interface. There is another use which I am coming to, which will solve our problem, which I discussed. Okay, so let me create a new class out here and I will call that class as a test. Inside this, I will create the object. I will create the object of Citibank, and I will create the object of Bank of America as well. Okay, I can call the functions of Citibank, for example, C dot transfer, C dot clear check, C dot recharge ATM, and I can also call the functions of Bank of America. Bank of America dot transfer, Bank of America dot clear check, Bank of America dot recharge ATM. I can call these functions. Okay, and I can call these functions on both the objects. The function names are same. So when I run this code, it will print the respective things from the respective functions. The Citibank is calling these three functions and bank. Okay, right. Now the thing is, a class can also have its own set of functions. These three functions in Citibank are coming up from the interface bank. Maybe it can offer another service, a service which is not provided by other banks. Right. For example, a public void, say, sorry, gold credit card, something like this. So, gold credit card. So this is the function which is there in the Citibank, but it is not there in the other banks. It can happen, and I can call this function on Citibank, C dot gold credit card, but I cannot call it on Bank of America. It's not there. But logical, it's quite logical, right? Okay. Now, if I try to create the object of interface bank, if I write bank b equals to new bank, I will get an error. You cannot create objects of interfaces in Java. This is a rule. Please remember, interfaces, you cannot create the object. Interfaces are abstract. Interfaces are incomplete. It doesn't make sense to create the object of an interface. What will you call when there is no function body in the interface? You can create the object reference. It's not showing error on the object reference. It is showing the error on the object. You can create the object reference, but you cannot create the object. Okay, right. Now listen to this carefully. At times people they get confused at this point of time. Okay, look, I'm taking the reference of an interface. Okay, I write say bank B. Till now I'm creating the object like this. Reference of the class equals to new, the name of the class. Now I'm going to write bank B equals to new. Now this is different than this line. Over here what I have done, I have taken the reference of interface pointing towards new class which is implementing the interface. The references of the bank and the class which is implementing the interface. How is this line different from this line? The difference lies in the fact that with this I can call the functions as well. I can write bank.transfer, bank.clearcheck, bank.recharge ATM. Okay, I will just give a demarcating line in between. Okay, so when I run this code, you get all the printed over here, or bank, Citibank transferring, clearing, and recharging ATM. That is fine. But if I call the function which is proprietary to Citibank, that is gold credit card, okay, if I write b dot gold credit card, I will get an error. If you are creating the object and pointing it to the reference of interface, please note you can only access those functions in the class which are coming from the interface. These three functions are coming from the interface. So you can only access these three functions with the reference of the bank class. Okay, you have to. Sorry, my throat is not so good today. Yeah, I'm coming over to the purpose. I'm coming over to the purpose. I'll tell you the purpose in 5 minutes. Annotation over here at the rate override is just to tell the user if I have written the code and you are reading the code, this annotation will tell you that fine, this function is coming from this. You can remove it as well. Okay. If I remove it, layman will not understand whether this is a proprietary function or a function from the interface. If I keep it, then you will come to know that this function is coming from the interface. No, you don't need to write override it. Okay, right? Standard. This is standard. Okay. So, as I was telling you, if you create the object like this, you can only access the functions which are in the interface and coming in the class. But what is the use of this? When I cannot access the proprietary function, what is the use of this? I'm coming over to the use. Okay. I can also create, say, a bank B1 equals to new Bank of America. Then with B1, I can access the function which is inside Bank of America. For example, B1 dot transfer will give you the output that Bank of America transfer. Right? Okay. But now, since this is a reference of bank interface, I can also decide on the next line that I can make Bank of America point towards the object of Citibank. It was pointing towards Bank of America over here. I called B1 dot transfer. It printed. It called the function of Bank of America. Now B1 I moved it from Bank of America and I put it on Citibank. And if I call B1 dot transfer now, if I run this code, see it's writing Bank of America transferring and then Citibank transferring. The command is same. The command is same. The difference is that initially I had this B1 reference pointing towards the object of Bank of America. Now I removed it from here and made it point towards the object of Citibank. One reference, I am moving it to different classes implementing that interface. Both the classes are implementing the same bank interface. Okay, so over here, when I called b1 dot transfer, first it printed bank, it called the function of Bank of America, then it printed the function of. So I can dynamically make this reference point towards any object or any class implementing the interface. I can decide, say, bank b3 equals to new or null. That means B3 is not pointing anywhere. It is just lying idle in the memory. Null means nothing. Okay. Based on my decision, I can make B3 point towards new uh, Citibank, or I can make B3 point towards new Bank of America. It is completely my choice. Okay, fine, right. So if I call the function b3 dot recharge ATM over here, or if I call it over here, the command is same, but the classes, the objects are different. If I run this, it will first print Citibank charging ATM and then Bank of America charging. I can make one reference dynamically point towards sorry object. I'm sorry guys, my throat is not so good today. Right, the objects of different classes. I can make one reference point towards object of different classes. So this is the main. Why this is the main objective? Till now we have seen the objects of Firefox driver class, Chrome driver being created. I can create the object of Firefox driver like this. I can create the object of Chrome driver class like this. Okay, but we all know that from the documentation, all the classes are implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay, so you can also take the WebDriver reference, the reference of the interface WebDriver. Alright, and point it towards the class which is implementing the interface. Okay, this is something like this. Bank was an interface and Bank of America was the class implementing. Internally, inside Selenium, WebDriver is an interface and Firefox driver is a class implementing the interface. You can also make the object like this. As I told you yesterday as well, in Selenium, everything is inbuilt. Okay, all you need to know is that how to read the Java docs. Okay, how to extract the objects, which we'll see later on, and then how to write code. That's it. These are the three steps in complete Selenium. Okay, this is how you learn it. You should know how to understand the Java documentation, how to extract the objects from the web page. I mean buttons, links, those objects, and how to write the code. That's it. Okay, framework building. It is something which obviously everybody wants, that I want to build a framework. I want to, build hybrid framework or data driven framework. All right, that is a standard process. If you build it once, if you build it twice, it's tough, but keep on repeating that, you can learn it. But to do that, you need to understand these things first. Okay. Generally, people expect that in the start of the training only I should do some project or I should start with something practical. That is not possible. You have to learn these concepts first. Okay. Right. So you can build the objects like this. You can take the reference of interface WebDriver, or maybe I can write, say, WebDriver driver equals to null. That is, this reference is not pointing anywhere. Just like this, bank B3 equals to null. And based on my choice, I can make driver point towards new Firefox driver, or I can make driver point towards new Chrome driver. Based on this, I can make my driver point towards any driver class. It is completely up to my discretion. Okay, right. So how will this help us over here in dynamic browsers? Okay, I will declare my WebDriver over here globally. I'm declaring WebDriver null. Import it, right? And I don't need all these things. Okay, all I need to write is that if driver is browser is Mozilla, then driver equals to new. Firefox driver, and maybe driver dot get. We don't need to write get over also. We just need to initialize. Okay, you can write a driver equals to new Chrome driver, or out here driver equals to new Internet Explorer driver, Edge driver. So you can make driver dynamically point towards the class implementing the interface, and then you can start building your script. You can write over here driver, because the function names are same in all the driver classes. You can write driver.get http yahoo.com, get the title of the web page, that is driver.get. The function names in all the classes are same because they are implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay, you can close the browser. You can write driver.quit. Quit will close the browser and end the Selenium session. So now I have selected the browser as Mozilla. If I run this script, then this script is going to run in Mozilla browser. It will open the browser and it will take you to yahoo.com. Right. Okay. Fine. And close the browser in the end. Okay. Hold on. It's not loading. Anyways, get function waits till the complete website is okay. Fine. Now this is done. The website was not loading completely. Okay. Right. Now out here, this is done. Okay. You see the usage of interfaces. Now after you reach the website, you have to go and identify the elements on the. Okay. You have to analyze the page source, click on a link or a button or something. How do you do that? How do you do that? Yeah, Shashank. Is my voice breaking, guys? Okay, okay. This is fine now, right? Okay. So basically, I was telling you after you reach the web page, you have to interact with the elements of the web page and all. How to do that? Okay. So I'll tell you that. Before that, let me cover an important thing in Java, exception handling. Okay. In very simple, it's a huge topic. There are lots of things inside it. You don't need to learn everything. Okay. I'll tell you that much, which is enough for Selenium. Okay. What is exception? It's an undesired, you can say, uh, place or undesired situation in a program. Right. For example, I will create a class exception handling. This is also important before I move forward. If I print over here system.out.println a int I equals to 9 divided by 2 or 3, and then b system.out.println b, and when I run this program, it prints A and B. First prints A, then prints B. Okay, right. Now, if I write 9 by 0 and if I run this program, it gives you an arithmetic exception divided by 0. Now, what is arithmetic exception? Basically, arithmetic exception means that um, you cannot divide it by 0, of course, right? It's an undesired situation on line number 6 on exception handling.java. The problem is A is printed but B is not printed. The program stops over there. Sometimes you want to recover from the exception, report an exception, and you want to continue the program. Okay, so what we do is that you write the lines which you want are capable of throwing an exception. Not just one line, you can put any number of lines under a try block. And you can write like this, catch exception over here. I'll print inside exception over here. Okay. So if the error comes on this line, the code will reach on this line, print this, where you can maybe report an error or something. You can come out and program will continue. So when you run this code, it will print A inside exception and B. Okay, right, fine. Now, if there had been no exception, it will just print A and B. It will not come over here. If I write over here A1 and A2, inside the try block, I have written A1 as well as A2. If I run this code, it will print A1 and A2. But if exception comes up, if I write 9 by 0, it will print A1. Okay, if I run this, it will print A1, but it will not print A2. Moment the exception comes up on the line, it goes into the catch block and it comes back. The lines after this line will not be executed in the try block. Okay, but the control will not stop. It will keep on continuing. So this is exception handling. It's small thing that you can recover from undesired situations. Right. For example, if you're clicking on a link and the link is not present in Selenium, you will get an exception. You can probably come out of the exception like this. So there are different things which I will tell you later on. But this is a small thing, exception handling, I wanted to take up. All right. So let's do one thing now. Let's now how do I interact with the web page? Okay. If you have a web page and you have to interact with it, how do you do it with Selenium? All right. Fine. Look, first of all, on a web page, everything is known as a web element. For example, if I am executing the same script on Chrome will and it will take you to yahoo.com. On yahoo.com, in Selenium, everything is known as a web element. A button is a web element. A link is a web element. A checkbox is a web element. Everything on a web element, everything on a web page is known as a web element. Don't confuse this with web element of UFT. Web element of UFT is very different than web element of Selenium. Okay, right. So everything falls under the category of web element. And in Selenium, we have, if you look at the documentation, we have an interface. We have an interface known as web element. This interface represents an HTML element. Okay, generally all interesting operations to do while interacting with the web page will be done with this web element interface. If you look at the functions of this web element interface, it's got functions which are like generic operations on the web page, like click on some element, a link, a button, anywhere you want to click, then you have this click function. right? Get size will give you the size of the element. Okay, right. Then get attribute function is there. All right, is displayed is there, is enabled is there. Right, send keys will be used to type the value inside a web element. Okay, so these are the functions of a web element. All right, fine. Now, how do you interact with a web element? How do you do that? Okay. After you have reached the web page. Okay. For example, I'll take up example of say this particular class or website. Say if I move over to the website, any website you can take, say zoho.com. Okay. If you go on this website and if I try to log in, then this is the login page. I have to enter the username and password. Okay. This is the URL where I have to go. I'll copy the URL and I will paste it out here that I have to go to this web. This is the login URL of zoho.com. And then you get the title of the web page. Print the title. Now suppose you have to enter the username. To enter the username, the first thing which you need to understand is the concept of page source. Every web page has a page source. How many of you don't know HTML? Do you guys have an idea of HTML language? Do you guys have any idea of HTML language? Anybody who is not having an idea, please let me know. Accordingly, I will tell. Do you know HTML? Okay, HTML is if every page has a page source. Page source is nothing but HTML language. If I right click anywhere on the page, you will get the option view page source. This page source is the server response. It's an HTML language. HTML language is nothing but a combination of tags and attributes. For example, this is a tag known as table tag. It's got an attribute known as width, ID, and style. This is another tag known as div tag. It's got these attributes. Div tag is ending over here. Slash ends the tag. HTML is a combination of tags and attributes. One tag can have 0 to any number of attributes. This is a form tag with name, method, class, and ID attributes. So we understand or we work with the combination of this tag and attribute thing to identify the elements on the web page. Okay, this is an input tag and it's got so many attributes. All right, fine. Now, obviously, when you are working with Selenium, you have to investigate the page sources. Okay, you don't go into the page source and investigate. There are tools available in every browser to do that. Look, the browser can differ every time you run the script, but the page source will remain the same. Page source will not differ. Okay, browser can differ, but page source will not differ. Okay, page source remains the same across every browser. Alright. If I right click on any element and if I go to inspect element option, right, you will get the page source of that element. Alright, if I right click on say email in Chrome, inspect, this is the page source of the input field. The tag name of this field is input. There are attributes like type, name, ID, class. There are many attributes. If you have name attribute or ID attribute, then it becomes very easy to identify the object with Selenium. Please note this golden rule. If an element is having name or ID attribute, it really becomes easy to identify. But you know, it's not it's not so simple. Every element will not have an ID or name. So let's start with simpler things first. Okay, right. Now I will make the script on Chrome and then I'll tell you about Firefox, I and all everything as well. Alright. We have the command driver dot find element. Find element command. If you look at the description, find the first web element using the given method. This will basically find a web element on the web page. How will it find the web element? Okay, by which mechanism will it find the web element? The mechanisms to locate the element inside a web page are defined by the class in the documentation by the by class. There is a by class in Selenium which defines the mechanisms to locate the elements within a document. Document, DOM, page source, everything is same. Okay, if you have to find an element within HTML page, okay, then you can use by class. Okay, by class defines the mechanisms which can be used to load the element or to locate the elements inside the page. Okay, right, fine. Now, how does it define? If you scroll down, these are the methods. By the ID you want to find the element, by the link text, by the name, by the partial link text, by the tag name, XPath. There are many things. Okay, XPath, CSS selectors. I'll talk about everything. Okay, so just be with me. Everything in this class is static. You can directly access it with the class name. Yesterday I told you, right, static things can directly be accessed by the name of the class. So you can write over here inside your dynamic browsers. You can write driver.find element by which criteria. Out here, I have the ID of the element in the page source. The ID of the username field is LID. So you write over here by LID. Driver.find element by the ID and give the ID of the element after reading it from the page source. Okay. And write web element. Driver.find element command will find the element on the web page and return you web element interface reference. Everything is inbuilt. You don't have to worry what to do. Driver.find element will find the element and return you the reference. What do you want to do with this username? You want to type something inside it? You can write username dot send keys, say user1. Send keys function will simulate typing into the element. Okay, right. So you extract the element and whatever you want to do with the element, you can write, you can do with the help of web element. For example, if I want to get the x coordinate of this web element, you can write username dot get location dot x will give you the x coordinate. And if I want to get the y coordinate, you can give y here. So when you run this code will open Chrome and take you to Oh, and see it's typing user1 inside the text field, right? Okay. Similarly, if I investigate the password field, and if you look at the output, it will also give you the x and the y coordinates. Okay. Right. Now, if I investigate the password field, you can also click on the small arrow in the inspector and move the mouse over this field. Okay. The Chrome inspector can also be opened with a shortcut of the keyboard, which is F12. With F12, you can open this. Okay, you can click on this mouse, move the element over password field. This is the password. The name of this field is PWD, ID is PWD. You can also identify the object name. Okay, you can write over here web element password equals to driver dot find element by the name password. Okay, and you can write password dot send key pass1. So when you run this code, enters the username, it enters the password. Okay, fine. Even if you run this code on say, Mozilla, if I run this code on Mozilla, I had investigated the page and I am running the code on Mozilla. Right. I've changed my browser. Will this work? Dynamically, I was able to open the browser and now I'm taking Mozilla to the login page. It is working. It has to work. Page source remains the same across different browsers. Page source is the response from the server. It will remain same. Okay, only the browser UI changes. I can investigate the objects in Mozilla as well. I can right click on any element. I can say inspect element and Mozilla inspector will open up. Similar to Chrome inspector, it will have an arrow. You can move the mouse over the arrow on the element. You can investigate the element. So you can investigate on any browser and make the website work on any browser. The page source remains the same. I can make it run on IE as well. You can run this. Generally, we investigate on Chrome or Mozilla. Okay, we don't investigate in IE or something. There are very few websites now which only support IE. Earlier, we used to have a lot of cases that the website is only supporting IE. Right. See that? Okay, you can investigate this. Right click, inspect element. Okay, user one is the element, and right. I also you can do highlight. But generally, I find the Chrome to be the best. Chrome Inspector is very lightweight. It is the best. All right, fine. Now the problem is to interact with one element, I am writing two lines of code. I extract the username, then I interact with it. I extract the password, then I interact with it. Okay, right. Now what I can do is I can write over here driver dot find element by the ID lid dot send key. So this is the command send key concatenated with find element command. Look, execution starts from the left side. First, the element is extracted. Then on the element, send keys function is fired and you type something inside. So this web element will be extracted first and on the web element, send keys function will be fired. Similarly, for password as well, I can write everything in one line. I can write password dot send user to or password, whatever you want. But then you run this code, it will work the same way. Okay, it will work the same way in I. All right, fine. Now, what if two elements on the web page have the same ID? Two elements, first of all, two elements on the web page should not have the same ID. Okay, it should be unique. ID is something which is unique. On mobile applications, when you are using Appium, Appium is the mobile automation tool, but it is the base is Selenium only. In Appium also, you automate just one minute. In Appium also, you automate mobile devices. In Appium, you automate mobile apps. Okay, but in mobile apps, the IDs are, at times the IDs and all they are same. Two elements generally have the same ID in Appium as well. Okay, right. Now, in web-based applications, IDs are supposed to be unique. You can tell the developer if the IDs are not unique, you can tell the developer. All right, that make the IDs unique. But still, if two elements have the same ID in case of Appium, then sorry, in case of Selenium, in case of a web-based application, if two elements are having the same ID. Now, when Selenium scans the page, it goes from left to right side and goes towards the bottom. All right. And one element is over here, one element is over here. Okay, right. If both the elements, they have the same ID. This element is also having ID, this element is also having ID. They have the same ID. Then Selenium will extract the first one and it will let the second one remain there. It will not extract the second one. Okay. What do you do to extract the second one? Well, it's quite easy. I will tell you later on when we study the concept of extracting multiple components. So find element will extract the first element. If you look at the description also, if you look at the description, it says that find the first web element using the given method. Okay, find the first web element. It will find the first element. All right. So what if you have the same ID? Then you okay. Right. Now just try to make the code yourself. I don't want to move any further. Okay, this is enough. Okay, generally on the weekend batch, I give a class of 1.5 hours to 2 hours because it becomes very hectic. Okay, you yourself must be realizing. Yeah, yeah. When do you get this error? Yes. Maybe yes. Over here, no, I told you, right? You can include it in the system variables. Yesterday, I included the deco driver and all the driver classes in the system variables, right? I told you that you can keep them over here. So that I have done. Okay, okay. No problem. I've shared it. Did you guys get the email? Just check your email. I've sent the. So look, this is the yeah. Tell me. Yeah, it's a trial classes I could. Yes, it is on YouTube. Now out here, this is the thing. So you launch the browser dynamically, then you make the script. This is more important than building the framework. You should know how to build the script. When you build a framework in the end, you might not be able to build it in the beginning. You practice it, you will be able to build it. But to build that, you should first know how to basically write scripts, how to interact with the web page. If you are not good at this, you will not be able to build this. Okay, so take up any website, take up anything and try to practice on that. All right. What basically is a framework? Let me give you an overview. That what is a framework? Fine. Look, the thing is, at times when you are working with Selenium, okay, you have got Selenium scripts or Selenium test cases, whatever you call. Okay, this is my first test case, this is my second test case, and this is my third test case. You have to run them in a certain order, or you have to run these test cases parallelly. Okay. Along with that, you have to generate reports. You have to read the data from the Excel file. You have to read the data from Excel file. Then at times you have to, run the code on grid parallelly. You have to integrate it with Jenkins, GitHub. Okay, what is Jenkins? What is GitHub? If you don't know, just leave it right now. Okay, right. So you have to generate reports. These reports are HTML reports. They should be email. You should be able to email the reports. You should have logs inside the reports, screenshots of the errors inside everything. Okay. So to manage this complete thing, we use a centralized controller. This centralized controller is known as TestNG. What TestNG does is that it reads the data from external file, Excel file, text file, XML file, properties file, whatever it is. Okay. Send it, call the respective test cases and send the data to them. Help you integrate Jenkins, GitHub, and all everything. Help you generate the reports. TestNG works like a centralized controller. There are other frameworks like JUnit is there, Cucumber is there. So generally TestNG is quite famous. Cucumber is also quite famous. All right. So this is what an overview of framework is. And there are different types of frameworks: data driven, hybrid, page object model. Okay, Cucumber, BDD. There are a lot of them. Lot of. Okay, if you talk about Selenium, then Selenium as a tool is only in this red box. Selenium will only be in this red box. Okay, right. So this is what uh, it is like. Framework is like. It's not just about learning Selenium. It's about learning a lot of other things as well. Along with Selenium, like test and JUnit, reporting, Excel reading, Grid, Jenkins. We'll do everything. Okay, right. So I will stop here.